Hello and welcome to this edition of FYI Weekly, your official source for the City of Greensboro news and information. The Greensboro Police Department is being assessed by the Commission on Accreditation for Law Enforcement Agencies, Incorporated. The evaluation period is from Monday, June 7th to Wednesday, June 9th. The assessors will examine all aspects of GPD's policy and procedures, management, operations, and support services. This determines if GPD continues to meet the Commission's state-of-the-art standards for law enforcement agencies as part of a voluntary process to gain accreditation, a highly regarded recognition of public safety professional excellence. The assessment allows personnel and the community to offer comments at a public information session on Monday, June 7th at 5:30 p.m. The session will take place in the City Council chambers located at 300 West Washington Street in downtown Greensboro. Those who cannot attend the public meeting can provide comments by telephone on Tuesday, June 8th. Call 336-373-2436 between the hours of 2 p.m. and 4 p.m. All comments are limited to 10 minutes and must address the agency's ability to comply with the Commission's standards. A copy of the standards is available at the Greensboro Police Department headquarters located at 100 East Police Plaza. The Water Resources Department has contracted Hydrostructures PA to perform sewer line smoke testing, which will wrap up on Thursday, June 10th. The testing locations include Edwardia Drive, Meadowood Street, West Wendover Avenue, West Market Street, Dolly Madison Road, and Guilford College Road. During testing, a non-toxic smoke will be introduced into manholes, eventually flowing into sewer lines. Any open breaks in the city's sewer system, as well as any improper connections, such as roof downspouts, will be identified by the presence of smoke. The smoke is non-toxic, non-staining, white to gray in color, has a slight odor, and creates no fire hazard. City water and sewer service customers are advised to pour a gallon of water into each sink, tub, and floor drain that is not used on a daily basis. This fills the P-traps and ultimately prevents smoke from entering into the home or business. Motorists traveling in the test locations may experience minor traffic delays. Dates and times may be impacted by weather or last-minute changes to the work schedule. The sewer line test is part of the city's ongoing sewer rehabilitation program, which is funded by water and sewer rates. Old North State Medical Society is hosting ongoing COVID-19 vaccine events for the Greensboro community. Walk-ins are welcome as appointments are not required for these clinics. The vaccines are being administered at Bennett College in the Intergenerational Center located at 600 Gorell Street. Those in need of a COVID-19 vaccine can stop by on the following days and times: Tuesday through Friday from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. and on Saturdays from 12 p.m. to 4 p.m. Old North State Medical Society began administering free COVID-19 testing in July 2020 throughout communities in North Carolina. They have partnered with local organizations such as the Andrew A. Best Medical Society in Greenville, the Greensboro Housing Authority, Quality Comprehensive Care Center in Charlotte, and the Durham Academy of Medicine, Dentistry, and Pharmacy. This statewide effort is designed to keep residents safe during the pandemic, particularly those in the African American and Latinx communities. For more information or to request notifications about free testing, vaccine events, and COVID-19 education, visit the Society's website. The city developed a partnership with Cone Health to share a series of brief and informative videos designed to inspire you to make better choices when it comes to healthy living. Following these tips is an easy way to help each of us improve our quality of life. Let's take a moment to check out today's News for Your Health.
For most people, occasional lapses in memory are a normal part of the aging process, but sometimes not. As we get older, there are some normal memory errors that we make that are age-related. For example, misplacing your keys, having trouble finding a word while you're talking, even forgetting an appointment. That's not cause for concern. What I see is that when people make these errors much more frequently and they begin to disrupt their lifestyle, then we start to worry that there may be a dementia coming. A lot of people ask me, how can I maintain the memory I have or the thinking skills I have? Sometimes when we forget, it's not that we're forgetting information, but we're not actually absorbing it. So if you're having visual problems or hearing problems, or you've been diagnosed with those and you're supposed to wear glasses or hearing aids, please do wear those and get those kinds of things checked out. Secondly, sleep. Sleep is very, very important for memory. And we find that people who have inadequate sleep or disorders of sleep will have problems with staying alert and also problems with memory during the daytime. Drinking too much alcohol, use of drugs, and smoking. I would recommend stopping smoking because when you're smoking, you're actually taking oxygen out of the brain, and it can actually worsen your health in other ways. Stay intellectually engaged. Doing crossword puzzles or word searches, that's fine, but what research shows us is that when you're doing those activities and it's a social context where you're doing it with other people, it can be much, much more effective to keep you mentally sharp. So, get involved in book clubs, go to dance classes, things like that can be very helpful. Another important thing is exercise, and people don't always realize that exercise is important to brain health. 30 minutes a day, if you can, of aerobic activity can be very, very effective in promoting the health of your brain because you're pumping blood through your brain. Managing stress and depression, that's an important one. I think that a lot of folks who are having memory problems, what we find out is that they're having very stressful lifestyles or they're actually depressed. Many of my patients ask me what they can do in terms of aids to use to improve their memory. First, you can definitely write things down. That's probably the easiest thing to do, either in a cell phone or on a pad of paper. Using a calendar that's in a central location in your home to kind of mark down appointments and important information can be very helpful. Asking people to repeat what they say to you back, even if you think you've heard it, and then rehearsing what you hear back in your own mind can be very helpful in strengthening the memory trace that you get. Another memory aid would be using alarms. So if you have to do something at a certain time to program your watch or your cell phone to give you an alarm to remind you to do something. If you worry that you're having memory problems or you're worried about a loved one having memory problems, I think the first thing to do is consult with your personal care physician. There are many medical conditions that could cause memory loss. Medical conditions such as thyroid disease, vitamin deficiencies. There can even be side effects of medications that can cause memory loss, so you want your physician to be able to review those with you and make sure that that's going fine. Thanks for joining me. I hope this information has been helpful. For more information about memory and wellness, please visit conehealth.com/wellness. I'm Dr. Michael Zelson.
The city has created another commission to its long list of boards and commissions. This group of volunteers will focus on culture and the arts. We'll have that story and more news coming up after the break. Stay with us. Welcome back to FYI Weekly. As outlined in the Creative Greensboro Cultural Arts Plan, the city has created the Greensboro Cultural Affairs Commission. Residents are encouraged to serve on the 9-member volunteer board. Complete the online interest form before Friday, June 25th. Creative Greensboro's Office of Arts and Culture, along with members of the Cultural Arts Task Force, will review the applications and recommend an initial slate of candidates, which will be considered by City Council. Terms will begin in the fall. The commission will be comprised of Greensboro residents who represent the creative community, business sector, arts and culture patrons and participants, and members of the general public. Members of the commission will promote the work of Creative Greensboro and serve as liaisons to the City Council. Members will also advise Creative Greensboro's leadership and make recommendations to City Council on programs designed to achieve the objectives of the Creative Greensboro Cultural Arts Plan. Commission members will serve a 3-year term with the possibility of a reappointment for 1 additional 3-year term. Meetings will be held on the second Monday of each month from 5:30 p.m. to 7 p.m. To learn more about Creative Greensboro or to access the application for the Cultural Affairs Commission, visit the city's website. The nearly $5 million construction of the Battleground Parks District at Country Park is about to begin. To support this next phase of development, the Nathaniel Green Drive loop through the park will permanently close to motor vehicle traffic beginning on Monday, June 21st. Residents are advised to park at JC Park if they want to visit Country Park. The loop road will remain open to bicyclists and pedestrians during construction. The construction will add Parks and Recreation's first zip line over Sloan Lake, skywalk pathways in the trees, a new promenade area for events, and an additional picnic shelter and restrooms. The dog park will be moved near the Lawndale Drive park entrance next to a new ADA accessible parking area. Currently, the loop road only allows motor vehicles on weekdays. Residents who use mobility devices and have accessibility concerns may contact the Country Park staff at 336-430-6562. Construction is expected to be complete in 2022. The park will remain open during construction. Residents who want to avoid the construction are encouraged to download the free Piedmont Discovery mobile app to search other parks in Greensboro and throughout Guilford County. The artists have been selected for Neighborhood Arts Residency Program debuting in 3 East Greensboro neighborhoods. Each resident artist is awarded up to $22,500 to support monthly arts programming and a mural installation through November 30th. Creative leader and educator Darlene McClinton will work with the Dudley Heights neighborhood. Tab Arts Center nonprofit, led by Executive Director Sunny Gravely Fouché, will work with the Kings Forest neighborhood. Artist Harry Turfel will work with the Glenwood neighborhood. Leaders from each neighborhood participated in the residency decision process. The Neighborhood Arts Residency Program is made possible by the City of Greensboro, U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, and the Community Development Block Grant Program. Additional support is provided by the city's Parks and Recreation, libraries and museums, and transportation departments. For more information about the Neighborhood Arts Program, visit the city's website or call Business Services Manager Josh Sherrick at 336-373-7817. After more than a year of hosting community conversations, Greensboro is unveiling the nuts and bolts of what the city will look like and how it will grow in the next 20 years. Coming up after the break, we'll talk about the 2040 plan. Stay with us. Welcome back to FYI Weekly. Smart and sustainable growth are 2 focal points included in the long-range plan guiding the future of Greensboro's landscape. GSO 2040 is a year old. Joining me now to talk about the comprehensive plan is Sue Schwartz. She is the director of Greensboro's Planning Department. Hello, Sue. Welcome back.
Thank you, Carla. It's great to be here.
Oh, always good to see you. You've been hard at work, and finally the comprehensive plan is a real thing. So tell us about the online development dashboard and the review system for this.
Well, there's a couple of things that happen with the online dashboard. As we adopted the plan a year ago, we wanted to make sure that the program was live constantly, not just a document like I'm holding the hard copy here. Yeah. So there's 2 things that we have. Number one is the online version of the document is actually an interactive version. Okay. So you don't just flip pages like it's a PDF of a hard copy. You go in and you read. There are videos embedded to help explain things. So, and we just learned that from the comp plan process that people process information differently. There's a reading from the mayor that's on there and a few other concepts that we felt were important to add and have a little extra. So one, there's that. There's a lot of different pieces. Plus, we have connected different city programs that are pieces of implementation of the plan. Mm-hmm. So, for example, Pieces of Now, the exhibit at our museum that is just phenomenal. Yes. And how that relates to connecting our community, keeping that connectedness, our sustainability connections that focus on equity. And then last but not least, The plan itself is cross-referenced with our land development ordinance.
Oh, good.
So different concepts are tied back to the online version of the development ordinance as well. So that's moving forward, and we really want to keep all those, that the policies and the implementation, that they stay connected and people can see for themselves how things are working, or maybe areas where we need to improve.
And having that interaction makes engagement so much more robust. People don't want to, as you said, flip through a PDF. To be able to see videos, hear people talking, and gain better perspective, I think is really going to keep people focused and supporting the 2040 plan. So tell me, how have you adapted development ordinances to GSO 2040 strategies and the policies?
Well, it's an ongoing process. So the very first thing was combining the Planning Board and Zoning Commission. These were two separate appointed bodies by the city. We were the only city in North Carolina that had them separated, and they had been for 50 years. And apparently there was a good reason 50 years ago to do that, but as we talk through what could make things better conversations, how could we not speed the development process, but not add extra barriers to the development process. So that's one. We have started looking at our landscape ordinance. The plant materials that we referenced there were outdated. Some of them were not native species to Greensboro, so that's one thing. And we're examining something called the missing middle, meaning those collections of apartment houses, duplexes, and other things that are not apartment complexes. You see remnants, you see those fourplexes and quads that are just a part of the neighborhood. And you couldn't do that with our current land development ordinance. We kind of programmed that out over the years. It was either a single-family house or multifamily, nothing in between, why it's called the missing middle. So what we've been doing, you can't just change that. So we've engaged Mr. Perolik's firm to evaluate our ordinance and then evaluate our land development patterns to figure out where would be the best fit to change the zoning districts to allow this variety of housing types.
Okay, so are all of the things you just mentioned examples of how this comprehensive plan is different from the one previous?
Absolutely. There's a lot. First of all, format, length. I think somebody measured the binder width of the last one, not as a slant, just we thought we had to nail everything, every detail down the first time around, maybe because it was the first time around. And this is setting broader concepts and that we will update. We've issued 2 updates so far on implementation. And so hopefully that continuous conversation, but also we're taking things in incremental steps to implement. So whether it's changes to the ordinance or developing new plans, we're moving at a more measured pace to implement those things.
And we have so many master plans underway throughout the city, and I know you were very intentional on the overlap and how can you pull from one plan and put that in the comp plan. How does the housing plan fit into this?
Well, actually the housing plan, and I'm glad you asked that, because the housing plan is a more detailed product that talks specifically about affordable housing type and where should we be doing this, and then how do we move in that direction. So it is an implementation piece of that larger goal of housing affordability, sustainability, neighborhoods, those things in Greensboro. So we'll be working with the neighborhood development department folks and obviously stakeholders from across the community about what are those things we need to change either in our ordinance or our approaches that may inhibit the types of things that are recommended in that housing plan. So they work together.
Okay. And community connectivity, input, feedback, that was all very critical in formulating what has now become GSO 2040. Are the conversations with community continuing in spite of COVID?
Well, they are, maybe not as robust because of COVID, but our intent, so as each implementation piece moves forward, we reach out. We've kept the master list of emails and contacts that we've had from the whole planning process, of the Planet GSO process, and we let people know, hey, if you want to be involved, here's way. And we look forward to those robust discussions that Greensboro is so known for.
Yes. Well, thank you, Sue. It's always good to see you, of course, but for taking time out to explain where GSO 2040 is, how it's constantly evolving, how the community can be part of the conversation moving forward. Do keep us posted on the progress, and other new implementation portions of the plan.
We'd be glad to encourage people to take a look at that interactive piece and just see the different stories we have to tell about Greensboro, because it's pretty cool.
It is. Great work. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Stay tuned for some useful information about Greensboro as we tell you something about the city. That's coming up after the break. Stay with us. Welcome back to FYI Weekly. One way to stay informed about decisions that impact our city is by attending or tuning in to City Council meetings at 5:30 p.m. on the first and third Tuesday of the month. The fourth Tuesday is reserved for a meeting as needed. The City Council is holding hybrid meetings where they assemble in the council chambers, but the public participates virtually if they want to address the council. The Greensboro City Council meetings are broadcast right here on GTN. The meetings are also streamed live on the city's website and on Roku. The City Council meets on level 2 of the Melvin Municipal Office Building located at 300 West Washington Street. To review the council meeting schedule and agendas, please visit the city's website. Here's an opportunity to learn a little something about the city. The city of Greensboro will receive $59 million in COVID-19 relief and economic recovery funds as part of the Federal American Rescue Plan, or ARP. City Council will decide how to spend the first portion of the funds over the next several months. Meantime, residents are encouraged to share input about how the money should be spent by using the Greensboro ARP Spending Simulator. This is located on the city's website as a way to capture comments or spending requests. The American Rescue Plan outlines a variety of ways the federal funds can be used to reduce the impact of the pandemic. However, the law does not allow the money to fund tax rate reductions or to delay a tax increase. Taking into account City Council's adopted priorities, the city may use the funds on recovery assistance for community programs, including nonprofits and cultural arts, transformative one-time infrastructure expenses for broadband, housing, or transit, to cover expenses related to fighting the pandemic, or to restore city revenue reduced as a result of the pandemic. The first $28 million will be dispersed in May. The remaining amount will arrive no sooner than May 2022. For more information about the American Rescue Plan, visit the U.S. Department of Treasury's website. Coming up after the break, we'll showcase our department spotlight, but first, meet the people who boomeranged back to Greensboro.
My name is Ryan Deal. I work for the City of Greensboro, leading the Office of Arts and Culture, Creative Greensboro. So we chose a house in New Irving Park for a few reasons. The lot sizes are really great. We have several dogs, 3 to be exact, and so it was important to us that we had a nice big backyard. This one happened to be fenced in. Almost anywhere that you select in Greensboro, we found we could be most anywhere within 10 to 15 minutes. And so the convenience factor was there for us, but the size home and the size lot, and the neighborhood is super walkable. We love getting out and walking around from neighborhood to neighborhood in the early evenings especially.
My name's Alejandra Thompson, and I work at Thompson Traders. So I moved back from New York City, and I didn't intentionally move back at first. I moved back during the pandemic in March of 2020. And then once I got here and I saw how great life was, I decided to stay. I love so many things about New Irving Park, my new neighborhood. The best one is that I have family nearby. Both of my brothers and their wives and their children live within 5 minutes walking. But I also love how many young families and young children there are in general. What I also love about Greensboro is it's kind of this balance between a big city and a small town. You have accessibility to everything, like airports and restaurants and art and shopping, but it still feels small. There's not a lot of traffic, it's not crowded, so you get this beautiful, balanced life.
So Alejandra, I came back to Greensboro to lead this Office for Arts and Culture for Greensboro. What's your favorite part about arts and culture or the creative community in Greensboro?
I grew up studying ballet at the Greensboro Ballet, so it goes way, way back for me. So I think we have incredible institutions here for art. I think there's a lot of experimentation in Greensboro that people don't know about, and I'm excited to be here and get to discover it.
A thing I love about Greensboro is like all of the things that you would expect to find in a big city. My experience is that you can find them in Greensboro. So there's a great symphony, there's great theater, there's great dance. One of my favorite things in my work has been connecting with and exploring all the amazing artists, like the creative individuals that make this such a dynamic place.
Welcome back. The City of Greensboro has more than 20 departments and several divisions committed to serving you, our residents and visitors. Let's go behind the scenes in our department spotlight. The spray grounds at Barber Park and Keeley Park, along with the swimming pools at Warnersville and Windsor Recreation Centers, are open for the summer season. Spray ground admission is free for families and $1 per person for groups. Pool admission is $1 for anyone up to age 12 and $2 for everyone else. Visitors are asked to practice social distancing. Face coverings will be required when patrons visit restrooms and locker rooms. Pool visitors should bring their own lawn chair or blanket. The spray ground operating hours are Monday to Saturday from 11 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. and on Sundays from 1 p.m. to 5:30 p.m. Pool hours are from 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. on weekends until Sunday, June 13th. Beginning on Monday, June 14th, the pool is open from 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. 6 days a week. Warnersville is closed on Wednesdays and Windsor is closed on Thursdays. The pool at Peeler is closed this season and Lindley's pool does not have an opening date. Both pools must be repaired before visitors can swim. For a complete list of COVID-safe, socially distant, in-person or virtual summer programs, visit the city's website. Straight ahead on the other side of the break is this week's Way to Go GSO shout-out. Stay with us. As we draw to a close, we always want to end on a positive note with our Way to Go GSO shout-out. This week's shout-out goes to the City of Greensboro. Community partners came together to celebrate National Trails Day with a series of free programs designed to showcase our trails. The Trails Day 2021 schedule consisted of the Lake Brant Guided Paddle for all ages. The Crockett Trail Hike for families teaches adventurers what they can find at the water's edge. Beginner and intermediate mountain bike rides were guided by the Piedmont Fat Tire Society. Last but not least, volunteers can coordinate a trail cleanup any time of the year. Please remember, as more places continue to open, wear your face covering, wait 6 feet apart, and wash your hands often. That concludes this edition of FYI Weekly, but you can easily stay connected to the latest city news by linking to us on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram. Alexa users can subscribe to our 5-minute flash briefings, which airs on 90.1 FM and 100.7 FM. Be sure to download our weekly podcast, Talk City Greensboro, and now GTN is streaming on Roku. For all of us here at the City of Greensboro, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.